What's up everybody, Zip12 here. So a lot of you guys really did seem to enjoy the top 5 strongest video I put out not too long ago and the top 5 worst character video. And I said in those videos to leave a comment of what subject did you want me to cover for the next video of like the best and the worst. So a lot of you guys really do seem to want the jutsus for the subject, like the top 5 strongest jutsus, which that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna do top strongest jutsus, but you know, we're not gonna do 5. We're not gonna do 5. We're going to do top 10 best jutsus in the entire game. Now this is gonna be a lot harder than choosing the best and worst characters because there are a lot of freaking good jutsus in this game. There are pretty good jutsus, and just choosing the best 10 is completely subjective. Like, it's like, I think the jutsus are actually a majority of them are actually very similar to each other and are very good. So choosing the top 10 best one is going to be a lot more subjective than choosing the best character. But hey, I'm gonna try my best. Remember, this is all in my opinion, but with all that out of the way, let's get started.
Where did you
So like always, we're gonna start out with the honorable mentions for the top 10 strongest jutsus. So these are all the jutsus that I thought about putting on the top 10 list, but I decided not to because the actual top 10 were actually way stronger than these. But these do deserve a mention. Alright, so let's start with the first one. Hinata's Air Palm, Fire Style Fireball Jutsu. And this goes for all of the Fire Style Fireball Jutsus. Neji's 8 Trigrams Palm Rotation. Shisui's Uchiha Style Halo Dance, and Misuki's Wind Waves. They're basically the same thing, but one's faster and one's slower. Itachi's Amaterasu. Tayuya's Demon Flutes Floating Note. The 4th Kazekage's Gold Dust Waterfall Flow. Boruto's Vanishing Rasengan. Madara's Black Pool. Obito's Truth Seeking Scorch. Kaguya's Jutsu, and this goes for all 4 of them. Killer Bee without the shark skins Rising Bomber, and also Sasuke's Chidori, because they're basically the same thing, but one's faster and one's slower. And the last jutsu for the honorable mentions is Toby's Minefield Jutsu. So those are all the jutsus that were on the honorable mentions part. So if you don't hear your jutsu up here, it probably was on my list, but these that I mentioned for the honorable mentions were really the ones that I was thinking about putting on my list. So I really had to dumb it down because I do not want to read 50 or 30 jutsus. So now we can go on to our number 10. So coming up at our number 10, we have the last Naruto's Rasengan Super Barrage. This jutsu is really strong, just for the fact that it is one of the best get off me tools. And what I mean by that is it literally just boops you away and goes into a strike back. There are a bunch of jutsus that do this, like basically any jutsu like Kimimaru's or Hanabi's like get off me tool. But this one's pretty good just because you have 2 opportunities to say get off me. And also these clones that Naruto shoots out, they have amazing tracking. Cause so usually whenever you send out a decoy, the jutsu usually aims for that decoy because, you know, that's the whole reason why it's called a decoy. But the last Naruto's jutsu doesn't apply to that. They will always go after the person and not the decoy. So even if you send out that decoy like I'm doing right now, it doesn't matter. These shadow clones will actually go after the player and not the decoy, which I think that's one of the more rare jutsus in the game, because I think this is one of the only ones that I've actually seen in person that actually does this, so that's pretty good. But the simple fact that this jutsu is insanely fast, it shoots out not 1 but 2 shadow clones for a boop, and also, I'm not sure if I mentioned, let me retry really quick. Here it goes. So let me show you one more thing. It can go into a strike back, and this is probably the most annoying thing about this jutsu because it can go into a strike back and it hits so accurately. But there are some weaknesses to this jutsu. For example, like it does no guard pressure, it does no damage, but as a support, it's one of the best supports in the entire game for just getting off me. And plus, the last Naruto himself is just a really good character to use for this jutsu as well, to just end off his combos or to set up for another partner. So overall, Rasengan Super Barrage is insanely good. So coming up at number 9, we have Hashirama's Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu. So this jutsu, it basically, you shoot out one Shuriken jutsu and then it summons a bunch of other Shurikens as well, and they all track the opponent, but these do not track as hard as the Super Barrage, because you can actually switch out to a different character and they will chase that decoy to the ends of the earth, which naturally they will just go up, you know, and just avoid like the actual player. But still, this jutsu is insanely good for a couple of reasons. So the first things first, it's amazing support. This support will track the person and it can just confirm you either a combo or a strike back, to be honest. You have to respect this jutsu, otherwise you are going to get hits. If you don't respect it, you're going to get hit to a strike back. Also, there's another thing, it goes to a strike back as well. It's essentially good for strike backs. So Hashirama players usually pair up with another strike back, usually Madara most of the time, but it could be anybody. And this is just an amazing jutsu for keep away, for protection, or anything. Now there are some downsides to this jutsu as well. So the main biggest downside is that if you happen to block the original jutsu, then the jutsu will not come out. That's like the only downside to this thing. Otherwise, like, it's still pretty good jutsu. And like, if you're really good with this jutsu, you can, you know, get pressure, you can get keep away, and it's actually so good that most people kind of just use this jutsu and double support only, because this jutsu can essentially just get off me. So this is basically better than the last Naruto's Rasengan Super Barrage in every sort of way. Yeah, I had to think about that. Yeah, in every sort of way. It can go up in the air, it can track the opponent just as hard, but not as hard as the Super Barrage. And yeah, it goes to a straight back, and it does a decent amount of damage if you do use it like naturally. Coming up at the number 8, we have Rasengan Barrage, the OG Rasengan Barrage. So this jutsu is just insanely good for the amount of versatility that it has. So now we're kind of moving out of supports, we're kind of going into jutsus that can work very well by themselves and as well as supports. And I truly do believe that this Naruto has the best Rasengan in the entire game. So the Rasengan Super Barrage is slow at startup, and Naruto runs at them with 2 Rasengans. If you hit them with 2 Rasengans, they take a lot of damage. And I do believe that this Rasengan, well, I'm not too sure if Jiraiya's or this Naruto has the most Rasengan damage, but they're still pretty close. Like, look at that damage. So one of the reasons why this jutsu is insanely strong, because you can actually use it for this Naruto, like using as Naruto as himself and not as a support. So a lot of characters don't really have this. He can actually link up his Rasengan Barrage into a combo, and it actually links up perfectly. So this is insane damage potential, because if you actually do this jutsu mid combo, look how much damage you're taking. Almost 50% of a bar. That is insane. So using it as Naruto is pretty darn good. Plus, he can also use it in the air, and it goes into a strike back because he does like a little combo right afterwards. This is actually insane. And it stays on the ground for a while as well. So if you do this and then just stay around Naruto will still hit anyone who comes near him just for a second, but that second counts for a lot. This is actually one of the best uses in the entire game, no doubt in my head. So using it as support, like I said before, Naruto comes through in the air and then hits them multiple times. This can be used for pressure, it can be used for keep away. Like I said before, you can party around Naruto, and Naruto will still do the combo, and it literally protects you for a second. And that second is pretty good. So this is just insane. Like, this is no doubt the best Rasengan in the entire game. Coming up at number 7, we have Madara's Fire Style Majestic Flame Destroyer. So Should I even say why this is good? Because I think it's kind of obvious. Madara shoots out a giant freaking fireball. Like, this is just fireball just times 10. So this jutsu is just insanely good for the amount of area that it covers. So it's, imagine just a fireball that covers a literally like probably 1/3 of the entire screen. That's literally what this is. This can be used for so many setups. It does so much, well, not so much damage, but it does a lot of damage, and it goes into a strike back, so you can follow up with it even more. So overall, I think this is actually one of the best jutsu just for the area that it covers. You can get pressure. There's a bunch of setups to get into it. You can spam with this. Like the possibilities are endless with this jutsu. Like almost like if you use this jutsu, there's no like bad thing about this jutsu. Well, actually, no, I take that back. There is one bad thing about this jutsu, and that is if you guard the initial fire, just like the Shuriken jutsu, the big fire AoE will not come out. So you will have to use it at mid-range. But overall, like, I have seen people use this in the most atrocious way of just spamming with Madara's fire, and you low-key cannot move. Like, it's just that big. And even if you do move, like, even for using as support, let me do like this, like, the fire will still be behind you. So if you're hitting your opponents, you can't sub, otherwise you're gonna get hit by that fire. So it's just really good. Now for the 6th strongest jutsu we have on this list, it is Danzo's Winside Vacuum Blast Barrage. So again, this is kind of self-explanatory why this is good, but I'll give it an explanation. So this jutsu is one of the best projectiles in the entire game. It is so huge, and the hitbox on it initially is also so huge. So of course, like it looks, Danzo shoots out a projectile, and it is really fast. And this jutsu is really strong to the point where it can actually hit multiple people. It can actually hit multiple people, including supports and everything. Don't get me wrong, this jutsu has a big hitbox on it. Even to the point where, like, even if you sub, you can still get hit by Danzo from behind. Like, it's just that huge. It can beat out a lot of other projectiles because it has, I guess you could say, piercing damage. Like, it can pierce people very easily. Another reason why this jutsu is really good is because, like the other projectiles before, like Madara's Majestic Flame Destroyer, they had to charge up in a way. You had to shoot from a little bit. You had to shoot it at mid range for it to blow up into an AOE. And it's the same reason for the Shuriken Jutsu for Hashirama. You had to wait low-key just for it to charge up and track. This one is a projectile you just shoot, and it's really quick and it's strong as well, and it beats out a bunch of other projectiles, so you don't have to worry about clashing. And also it can pierce multiple stuff. And as support, it's amazing support because of just how wide it covers. It literally is one of the most brain dead best supports in the entire game. Coming up at the number 5 jutsu, we have the Hanabi Rotation. Yeah, Hanabi style rotation. So this jutsu is, in my opinion, I think the best Hyuga jutsu in the game for a couple of reasons. So first of all, using it as Hanabi, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but you really want to use this for support or for switching out for another person. So this jutsu locks you down so hard. Like, I can do this, well, not do that, hold on. I can actually do this and then cancel with an ultimate jutsu, and they will sub either above Hanabi or still into Hanabi. Like this locks you into place. And sometimes, like, if you do this, you can kind of like get a combo off if you have like a short combo character, and that will be true. And the tracking on this jutsu as support is just really good. Like, she just goes at you. So basically this jutsu is just really good. I put it at number 5 just because of the setups that you can do with it as well. Like, you can literally set up for combos, you can set up for ultimate jutsus or jutsus, because the opponent literally can't move if they are in this. They have to get hit. They have to either dodge this jutsu or just, well, they will just dodge or block, because if they get hit by regularly, you can get hit by a bunch of other stuff, and that is just insanely powerful in this game. Coming up at number 4 on this list, we have Tobirama's Water Style Water Wall. So this may seem like an awkward one, but I put this at number 4 just for how versatile it is. So again, using it as Tobirama is very good. It has a lot of damage to it, and also it can be very good for setting up shield breaks. Like this just instantly breaks shields. So that's one thing that the other jutsus beforehand wasn't really able to do too much. This jutsu has kind of the same thing as Madara, where it covers a lot of the screen and it actually follows the opponent as well, and there's no need for it to charge up either. It's just instant damage, and I really do believe that instant damage in this game, instant damage jutsus are the strongest. So like Danzo's jutsu, it's not multi-hitting, it's just one hit, and that's strong. And same thing with Tobirama's as well, it's just one hit, just instant damage. So in Storm 4, if you get hit by one of these and you try to sub it, you will have to sub beforehand. Otherwise, you will still take the full damage. And even me, in Storm 4 lag, you mean to sub like one of these jutsus and you will still get hit by it, even though you sub. It's crazy like that, but that's just kind of how it works. And this jutsu is just really good for the amount of range that it covers, the damage that it covers, and also the potential for shield breaks as well. And it can track too. Like this is really insane for a support or using Tobirama. Definitely one of the best jutsus in the entire game. Coming up at number 3 on this list, top 3, the third best jutsu in the entire game is Karin's Perfume Spray. This jutsu is, I don't see how this is not on anyone's at least top 5 best jutsus in the entire game. So this jutsu, the reason why it's so good is because this is basically Karin's. She sprays perfume and she tracks onto you pretty darn hard, but that's not really why it's so strong. It's really strong because it actually gives the opponent debuffs. Speed down, poison, and defense down. As you can see, the poison is taking into effect for Naruto right now. So with this is just good for how good this support is right here. So it tracks on as support super hard. Like she would turn around just to spray you, and she will keep following you as she is spraying you. This jutsu also stops you, so that means that this spray will stop the opponent from attacking. Next, as the opponent, you cannot sub out of this. You either sub on top or keep constantly subbing into it, which means that you just have to take it. You have to take it, or you have to sub beforehand not to get any of the smoke that she's putting on you. So this jutsu really wouldn't be so high if it wasn't for the debuffs. These debuffs are really where it's at. So first of all, I don't really care for speed down. It's really just poison and defense down. That is one that you do not want because, well, should I even say it? You take more damage when you have defense down, and the poison is just eating all your health. So I don't even care if it's a minimum amount of poison damage. It's still damage from a support that can come every 10 seconds. That is insane. That is kind of stupid. But using it as Karin herself, it really has no value, which is why it's not like number 1 or anything like that. She doesn't have a cancel into it. She just kind of just use it. All she can do is like just switch out like this and kind of just do that, try to set up for it. But look at the damage I just did for Naruto just for doing like half a combo. Like it's just insane. So this is just good for just it keeps people away, and also if they do dare come in and try to be aggressive, they have the potential to take a lot of damage because, you know, this can set up for a lot of like just really fast KOs from Karin. Alright, next on this list, I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw this coming at number 2. It is Nagato's Almighty Push, and also Pain's as well, because they're basically the same thing. So this is one of the reasons why Pain and Nagato are very strong in this game, besides of their janky hitbox and their universal pull. They also have one of the best jutsus in the entire game, which is the Almighty Push. So the reason why this one's good, because it's literally just a better Hanabi Rotation, and it's just better. I don't really know what to say. It's not even a projectile. It's just the ultimate keep away button. It's just the ultimate protective bubble, and it does a lot of damage as well. And it also has that thing where you can use it in the air and it comes out 10 times as fast. And Nagato has a more powerful almighty push because his hit multiple times while Pain only hits once. So Pain can, with Pain you only have to sub once and then you can attack Pain later because he's left wide open. But Nagato, that bubbles out. That is just you're just protected, like just 24/7. So this one is just really good because it's the ultimate keep away, and it's just the ultimate boot that does a decent amount of damage as well. So anytime your opponent has Pain or Nagato for their support, you have to respect and you have to keep in mind that this character can just have an instant strike back. And if they have Nagato, like, you can't punish them because if you're in the air, like, you literally can't like do anything. Now I think Nagato has a shorter range while Pain has a bigger range, but it still doesn't matter too much because it's still like a protective bubble just for you. Like, it's literally just a protective bubble that if the opponent just pushes a little bit too hard, you're going to get booped away into a strike back and you're going to be taking a lot of damage. Now, even using it as like themselves as their character, just using this right here or baiting out a sub and then using it when they sub, it's just insane. Like, and plus this actually repels a lot of jutsus. I'm not sure it repels every jutsu, but a lot of them, yeah, it just boots them away. You're kind of just protected for 2 seconds, which is pretty insane. And I think this one was the obvious one. The #1 best jutsu in the entire game is the Inferno style Fireball Jutsu. Now remember, this is purely in my opinion, but I think a lot of people would say this is a freaking good jutsu. And I don't think I have to explain too much on why this is the best jutsu in the entire game, in my opinion. It's a giant fireball. It can't be beat by any projectile besides, I think, Inferno style Fireball Jutsu. No. Inferno style Flame Control. There you go. Inferno style Flame Control can actually beat out every single jutsu in the entire game, but this one can beat out every single one besides that one. It's insane. It's huge. It has a gigantic hitbox. Like, even if Sasuke shoots this thing out and Naruto is behind me, he will still get hit, or he has the potential to get hit by this jutsu because of how big it is when it comes out. It can also be used in the air instantaneously. This is the ultimate jutsu. It can be used for spam. It can be used for as support for keep away. It can be used for getting pressure. It can be used for mix-ups. Like, it can do everything. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I'm just flabbergasted. It can literally do everything in the entire game, and I think it's actually one of the strongest jutsus in the entire game. The strongest jutsu in the entire game. But that is going to be the end of this video. So that was my opinion for the top 10 strongest jutsus in the entire game. So make sure to tell me down in the comments, what do you think is your top 10? Because I'm pretty sure that my top 10 is going to be very different from someone else's, but we'll probably have similar jutsus on this list. But I'm very curious to see what you guys think, because I love reading the comments and seeing your version of top 5 strongest characters or top 5 strongest jutsus, because it's very interesting, because some people actually brings up a point that I never expected or that I just forgot.